Good evening, all. Welcome to FMA Discussion. This is episode 142, and tonight we are featuring Guro Sabrina. Hi, how you doing? Thank you for coming on.
Oh, great. Thanks.
No, glad to have you on. So it's been the mission from day one to try to get more females on here. And so slowly but surely it's happening. I think a few in the beginning or in general, were apprehensive. So I don't know. I think when they've seen a few come on, I think more and more are feeling more comfortable. So hopefully that will continue and get more on. So yeah. So I think you guys need to be heard, So, but anyway, so what's going on with COVID there? I know California has been bouncing all around. Can you guys train, or are you still kind of locked down, or is there a certain phase?
Well, now things are starting to open up. I'd closed down my business in Rochester, New York, when the pandemic started and came out here. And since then, I've been, at first I was teaching just like private lessons here or there, distanced in a park. But then I got a full-time job that's aligned with martial arts. But since then, I haven't reopened my business yet. But I'm looking into it.
Oh, so in other words, when you say you opened it, did you have an actual school? Were you subletting or more group?
Yeah, I'm hoping to. I mean, I'll probably start. My club is Kalis Fight Club. It's an Illustrisimo stick fighting club, and I'll probably be teaching in the park. I'll probably start opening up groups in a park and then look for a place.
Yeah, out there, you guys got such a great weather. So, all right. So then, what was your first FMA experience? What got you in? Who, when, and where?
Well, my background's actually in athletics. I was a Division I NCAA fencer at Temple University.
Oh, wow. And, no kidding. Fantastic.
Yeah. So coming out of college, I was coaching at Appalachian State University in Boone, North Carolina. But I had no one to fence. I mean, my students, but there was a big level disparity.
Yeah, disparity. Yeah.
So sure. I didn't want to be a bully, and I wanted, someone on my level, and I couldn't find it. So I was actually initially looking for judo. I wanted to do grappling because I was like, I know some, as a fencer, I want to do something that's totally different. I wanted to do grappling, but coming from athletics, I had no clue where to look for martial arts or any other. I didn't know where to look for grappling. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff. So there was like a martial arts school on my way home, and it was the Blue Ridge Kung Fu Arnis Academy. And I was like, I don't know, maybe they have grappling. I didn't know. I knew what Kung Fu was from the movies,
Yeah, you knew what Kung Fu was. Yeah.
So I went in and I was like, do you guys have judo or something like that? And they're like, no, we have ground fighting as part of our program, but no judo. And one of the guys overheard, they were asking me about my background. And now he's an amazing fighter. He was just one of the brown belts at the school. And he overheard me saying, oh, I'm a fencing coach. And he's like, oh, you're a fencer. You want a knife spar? And I was like, Sure. Yeah, sure. And it's funny because I didn't have any way to gauge, how things were going. I thought he was going easy on me. It took me a while to realize, like, no, I'm just a good knife fighter. But I was like, he's just standing there letting me stab him.
Yeah.
But, as a fencer, I was like, I had pretty fast attacks. So,
yeah.
But this guy was an amazing fighter. So after that, he kind of like took me under his wing, and he was a boxer by training, a really nasty fighter, like really good guy. And he taught me, I started doing Filipino martial arts there, and Kung Fu and anything anyone would teach me. He started teaching me like boxing. He taught me how to triangle someone also. So he taught me my first grappling and my first boxing and everything. But yeah, that style of Filipino martial arts was Kamjuka Kali. I didn't even know at the time. I really didn't know the difference. But looking back, it's like a modern arnis mixed with Lameco mixed with a couple other things.
So minor niece mixed with the Mako. And I'm sorry, who's the guy?
That was Tuhan Ward. And his Tuhan was Tuhan Gaudiosa Ruby. I met her once from the Philippines.
Tuhan Ruby.
Yes. She was very cool.
Tuhan Ruby. So a student on Tuhan Rubies, which would make sense of a Mako aspect, but the minor niece.
He also had like pictures with Remy Presas. So yeah. So Tuhan Rick Ward is the school in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
I got you. So there's the connection to minor niece. Okay, Remy Presas, the connection on Mako, Ruby through Edgar. Okay, getting it. Okay. Wow, that's a kind of a neat, unique blend. So, so your first experience was him knife fighting you. I'm guessing through the lens of minor niece, you got stick work and all that, right?
Oh yeah, I got into the sticks. Knife fighting remains to this day my favorite.
Yeah, same here.
But and it also, like, as a fencer, it just feels right. Yeah. But and as like a smaller individual, you know, I like fighting bigger people. There's more to hit. You know, you could just hit them with your eyes closed and you'll get something, you know.
Index. That's funny. You could just wow. So how long ago was this about? Just, you know, the time frame that you're referencing.
This was in 2011-ish.
Okay, so that was your start. Okay, and how long were you there for?
So I was only there for about a year. Coming out of the NCAA, I was very, like, there were a couple things that contributed to this, but I only knew how to train one way. I would show up with my sticks before the studio even opened and just wait for someone to unlock it and then just stay till they kick me out. And I would do that as many days a week as it was open, pretty much. Okay. And so, so I was just training in anything anyone would teach me. I would hit a bag for hours, or I would do stick fighting for hours every day.
Oh, wow. Okay. Somebody says I'm screw Tom, I'm echoing, huh? It was really bad before, but I brought it back on, and then it seemed to go away. But you're still here, huh? I'm not sure what we're going to be able to do about it. We're just going to have to go with it, because I'm not hearing the echo, but apparently I heard a little there. Okay. I'll back up. We'll figure it out. But so you're there about a year. Next stop, would you get relocated, or?
So I did. I stepped away from stick fighting. I kept practicing my stick fighting on my own, but because I lived under a rock. I lived like in the mountains. I didn't research these things. So I moved back to my hometown, which was Washington, D.C., and all I could find at that moment, what was closest to me, was Kung Fu. And so I went with Hung Tao Choi Mei Academy with Sifu Rahim, who's fantastic. And I was was there every day learning whatever anyone would teach me. I still practiced my sticks even when I wasn't there. In the meantime, I was making plans to move to Israel. So when I got to Israel, I switched again, still had my sticks, still everything. But my mentor, he's like an adopted father to me in Israel. He's like a severe badass. Can I say that on an interview? Badass. Sure.
We'll let it fly.
So he, like, really, former Mossad, like former police. He trained in Muay Thai for years. So he got me into Muay Thai, sent me to his coach. And again, I just trained like 5 days a week with sparring. I broke my nose a little. And I was Muay Thai for a few years. I had my sticks. I was always like hoping to go back to that. I was also hoping to go, I like went back to fencing for a little while, which was hard in Israel only because specialize in a specific weapon that isn't my weapon. Now I fence it and now I coach it, but it was hard for me to find my weapon there. So yeah, so I was training in Muay Thai, pretty hardcore. I can recommend places if anyone wants to train in MMA in Israel or Muay Thai or something like that. To recommend places, but
you're the person to go to. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I ended up with Adi Rotem, who also a severe badass. She was the 2012 world kickboxing champion. And she was like, listen, you are a competitive fighter and I want to put you in the ring and I'm going to train you for that. And I was thinking like, that was exciting. That was super exciting. But I was feeling something in me was saying, this isn't the right avenue for you. I like my face. I like my brain. I just didn't. I could be a competitive fighter in other stuff. And I figured kickboxing was not the best choice for me. And I even asked her, like, I'm a stick fighter. Do you know anyone that I could train with? And she pointed me in the direction immediately. She was like, John Escudero.
Who moved there from the right. Okay.
And
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. What's with the Thai bot? What's wrong with CTE? I mean, what's wrong with brain damage?
Right, of course. Of course. By that point, I was a science teacher, so I'd been studying I got a fitness instructor certification from Wingate Sports Institute in Israel. And once I graduated from there, I was looking for a job and just training in Muay Thai. I'd apply for jobs and then go to the boxing gym, to Nakash boxing gym, and just train all day. And I'd apply for jobs and train all day. That's like all I was doing. So, but then when she told me about John, I was like, oh, that's where I need to go. And so I went back into stick fighting hardcore. John's an amazing, amazing coach. Like really, he was a mentor to me.
He was,
What?
I had him on here. It was good.
He's great. He's great.
Yeah. So lightning scientific, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So what'd you think of it? I mean,
I loved it. I loved it. I realized that my only frustration, and this isn't about lightning at all, it was my only frustration as an athlete going into like Filipino martial arts, which is a martial art. I could never understand people's. Now I do understand, but back then I didn't understand why. For me, drills were something you did as a warm-up before you fenced. But fencing was what you did every time you go to fencing. Otherwise, you're not doing it. You're not doing the sport. And I didn't understand the self-defense and the heritage stuff and the traditional
historically
stuff.
And
yes, and every time in all of any kind of martial art, even in Kung Fu, I was like, I don't understand. Like this part doesn't make sense to me.
No, the disconnect. I totally know what you mean.
And John understood what I meant, and he sparred me, and he like got a weekend group together because a lot of people, if it were up to him, everyone would be sparring all the time, but a lot of people don't seek Filipino martial arts for sparring.
No.
So that was a frustration the whole time, but not with lightning. Lightning was great. It was a lot of fun, and I highly suggest it. I highly recommend it. Definitely seek John out. He realized I was serious, and I told him I was thinking about becoming an instructor, and he really made me work really hard, which I really appreciate. He gave me many opportunities. If I wasn't at class, I would go to his house and he'd set me up in his backyard with his Wing Chun dummy, and I would just train on that.
Wow. You hit on something that I think that's really important, just backing up a bit, and that's the whole disconnecting, because I experienced that too. I don't want to name the system just for sake of politics, but I ended up leaving the system because I couldn't make heads or tails how what I was doing like matched over here in the fight. Like it just like I couldn't articulate how I can now. You know what I mean? You know, just with growth, martial maturity, and more exposure to FMA. But back then, I went through the same frustration. I'm like, well, why am I doing this? This doesn't match what I'm doing over here. And
Right.
yeah, so it's yeah, but much to what you said, a lot of people do these arts, you know, the fluid motion, it's aesthetically pleasing and all that, but not necessarily because they want to spar or you know what I mean,
Right.
you know, and all that. So it's interesting that you saw that as well. Like I was wondering if I was only like one of the few ones like, why am I doing these drills? Like, because right now I don't do a lot of drills.
Right.
You know, like some
I
of the
mean,
feeding drills in
drills are
KI.
important for sure.
Yeah.
It's a different world. Sports and martial arts are two different worlds, and coming from the athletic world, I couldn't understand. And I had that trouble in the Philippines too. But again, it's just a different thing, and people come to it for different reasons. And now as a coach, I understand that. But when I was just starting out, I was like, why is nobody sparring me?
No, I know.
How am I going to learn these moves? Like,
I know.
I really didn't understand it. Now I understand people come for self-defense or for exercise or, you know, to connect with their people or their, you know, A people or, you know, they.
You know, the way you say it's better than them sitting on a couch. If they're coming to exercise or meet people or just get it. I mean, right. So when you look again, I think with me, it was a maturity thing. Like it was me not seeing the whole picture, me just thinking about like what I and all that, and just not seeing the whole picture. But even though to this very day, I don't incorporate a lot of drills, but I mostly focus on attribute development as opposed to like memorization and drills. But you're right, the drills do have a place, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so then, all right. So you're with Maestro John, and how long? Now, did you go through the whole system with them, or?
I went through a lot of the system. I was working really hard. I was loving everything he was teaching me. And again, he really set me up, like in a good way. Like if I had no one to spar, he would spar me. He got his friends together, and this is where KI comes in. So this is a couple years in. And he introduced me to a friend of his who joined our little sparring group on the weekends, Brenton Welford, who's now back in Australia. He's in Perth. But back then he was in Israel. And so he and I would get together on the weekends with whoever else wanted to join us, and we'd spar. And Brenton's moves were really cool and different. And he told me, and sometimes it was just he and I on the weekends, him and I on the weekends sparring. And he started showing me moves. And he said, oh, I'm from Illustrisimo. This is a different style. You might like it. You're a fencer. We do a lot with blades. And he started showing me. And yeah, I really liked it. And
so when you're back with lightning, I mean, was most of it stick? I mean, I'm going to guess you did long and short and.
Oh yeah, I was practicing. I was practicing espada y daga. I was doing knife stuff. Yeah, lightning's a really full system. We were doing empty hand stuff. And I was a science teacher, so even in my lab, when I didn't have a class in my lab, I was practicing my footwork. I had doing espada y daga in my laboratory, in my school clothes.
Yeah. Wow. Because I mean, that's a system I've always been kind of intrigued. I mean, right now I got too much on my plate, but that's a system I would like to definitely like go into deeper and train. There's a couple guys here. They live in New Jersey. Ryan Cordero and Sachi, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is a grandson of Mon Ben, if I'm not mistaken. But they're lightning scientific and. Something, yeah, they're right in New Jersey, so it's not that far from me. But so I've always been intrigued by it.
I'm familiar. I'm sort of familiar with them. I'm when I was training in lightning, I was a training partner with Angelo Garcia and LJ Eldad, and now he's in Costa Rica. So yeah, so those guys I know more. So Angelo Garcia is in DC right now.
Oh, okay, okay. I definitely know of him being under John. Were you somebody saying your video is going funny?
Oh, I don't know.
It's kind of. I actually did.
Am I still here?
Okay, nope. It's better now.
Oh, there's a wooden cabinet. There we go. No?
Okay.
I don't know what's happening.
No, it was fine before it went to the wooden cabinet. Okay, that's fine. There. It was kind of, yeah, it seemed whatever it's doing now is it's the okay, he's the grandson of Mong Ben's sister. Okay, thank you. All right. Huh. But yeah, it seems okay now. But wow, so then so what did you like looking back at Lightning Scientific and your experience with John, like what did you really the takeaways? What did you really like? Both the system and him as a teacher.
John is a fantastic teacher. And super supportive. Like if you put in the work, he's going to like really support you and help you. Yeah, fantastic teacher. He taught me not just about lightning, but also about how to handle a martial arts business, how to treat your students. So yeah, I learned a lot from him, and I still learn from him. He's very I haven't seen him in a while, but yeah, I keep tabs. And
yeah, he seems like a good guy. I mean, the few times I had him on an interview, seems yeah, I mean, he seems like a really good guy. So yeah, he's somebody it'd be nice to meet one day. So then what about the actual system? Like were there things that stood out that you still today like and use? I mean, were there was there a certain dynamic that came out of that system that you appreciated?
Of course, whatever I learn, I in any system I bring along the way. Now when I'm teaching, I'm really teaching Illustrisimo. I don't want to mix it up. Sometimes I will I definitely sparring drills and training tips and things like that. And also just, a way of moving, a way of moving. And especially if I have students that are coming from not lightning, but from all kinds of backgrounds, I find that a lot of them relate very well to the lightning movements. And I can kind of, get them into stick fighting that way.
Okay. Yeah. So then, all right. So you meet this guy from Australia. You're obviously liking what he showed you and all that. But where'd you go from there?
So he was teaching me some Illustrisimo, and we were sparring. And I kind of realized, like, listen, if I'm going to be an instructor, I need to be competing. Again, I'm a fencer, so like, you can't be a coach if you haven't competed. It doesn't exist in fencing. And I mean competed extensively. Like you'll never meet a fencing coach that's like hasn't competed or only competed a couple times. So I was thinking, listen, I want to train full time so that I'm comfortable with this and I want to compete. And I couldn't afford to do that in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv's expensive. And there are no real competitions going on in Israel. John has set them up before, and he wants to do that in the future. But it wasn't a frequent occurrence, and we talked about that, and we were mutually frustrated over that. And I said, listen, I'm thinking of going to the Philippines. And Brenton had told me about his coach, Arnold Narzo. And I asked John, I said, well, should I go to the Philippines? Because they probably have tournaments, and I can afford to train there. And he was like, sure, I mean, you can do that. And I was thinking, like, who would I train with? And I asked him, I said, can I train with Arnold Narzo? And he thought for a minute. He's like, yeah, Arnold's a good guy, and Illustrisimo might suit you because it's blades. And so I contacted Arnold. Brenton put me in touch with him, and I went to Luneta just for the summer. I was just planning to go for the summer.
Oh, okay. Wow. So when that was, what year about? Just about. Doesn't have to be accurate.
2017, something like that.
Wow. So that was your first trip there, and you're going there to train KI. Okay. That must have been an experience. Okay. Wow.
Yes, very much. So I give credit to Arnold because he had to put up with me being from another country. I was very Israeli at that point, which is like the opposite culture of the Philippines, I'd say. Yeah. But yeah, and also because I had very different movement patterns. So.
From lightning. Okay.
Yeah. And also from fencing and everything else that I've done. My camera's doing that thing again. But but I trained every day for hours. Every morning I met Arnold in Luneta. And I decided, like, oh, this is a good setup. I'm going to come here. So I went back to Israel and I got my affairs in order and went right back to the Philippines for the for a year.
So the first time was just a summer, like you just. Okay. Wow.
I went back for like a few weeks, packed a bag and found a sub letter and went back to Manila.
So when you were there for the 3 months that summer, like where were you staying?
In a hostel in Malate, so I could walk to Luneta every day.
Oh, so everything. Okay, so everything was kind of close, convenient. I mean, okay. Wow. Jeez. So now, that summer, was it primarily just KI that you were training?
Only.
Exclusively?
The whole time that I was in Manila I only trained KI. It became, it very much suited my personality, I'd say, the style, and I really was taken with it.
Yeah. I mean, right. There's just some systems that gravitate towards you.
Yeah. And I still love lightning, and I still recommend it to anyone who wants to do stick fighting because it's an excellent style. But for my body type and my just who I am, KI just fit better. It did take a while for it to take. I was training like for hours every day, but it took.
Yeah. Well, you had to switch gears. I mean, so that could, that probably had something to do with it. You know what I mean? All that, but because how tall are you?
5'6".
Yeah, so you're on the tall side for a woman, it's female. So I mean, yes, and it, KI works for that, long, tall. So wow.
Yeah.
So after summer, you go back for a couple of weeks. And you're training, is that kind of
I went back until the next year. I stayed for almost a whole year in Manila.
Oh. So when you were there, was it just training, no work? You were just kind of saying.
I trained for the whole morning in Luneta, and then I got a job as a fencing coach in Makati. And
okay.
Yeah, so that paid the rent. I had some savings saved up for schooling, so I used it on training in KI full time because I knew I wanted to be a martial arts instructor.
Wow, that's fantastic. So that worked out great. You're going there to train, and you get to teach fencing at night. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better setup. Wow.
So then I'd go back to the night training group. So I'd coach in the afternoon and then go back for a second round of training whenever they had it in the evening with Duran Sordo. And Arnold was there as well, and whoever else would show up.
Yeah. I mean, wow, man, that must have been great. Jeez. Wow. And so now so the whole year. So wow. So when you left, I mean, when you left there, did you go through the whole program or what happened?
Well, I just stayed until Arnold told me. He said your students should call you Guro, and he was talking future about when I have my school. Um, there are still some things in KI that I want to learn more. But I mean, when does anybody not want to learn more?
I totally believe in the forever student. Sure. You know. So what can you tell us about just so those who might want to seek out Coach Arnold? Like, what did he instill in you? What could you tell us about him, as far as maybe people that might pursue him?
Oh, Coach Arnold is fantastic as well. Definitely a different kind of teacher, but all my teachers have been different kinds of teachers.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He's he's the lineage of Tony Diego and Tatang himself. And I would recommend him. Of course, I would recommend him most of anyone in KI, but he's a fantastic teacher. And I think he's been doing some online seminars.
I think, I see, definitely been seeing some of the Facebook posts of him doing, definitely seeing something. I think they're more on the privates, I think, but definitely he's doing something online for sure. Yeah, I've seen a few people in the morning. Matter of fact, I think I just saw like Marco was doing a morning session. So definitely he's doing something. What's up? Hey, Paulo. What's up, Diener? Man, I haven't been called that in years. How'd you find that out? Paulo's been doing some background checking on me, calling me Diener. No, that's funny. So, all right. So then, if you had, just for somebody that maybe wanted like compare and contrast between the two systems, what could you just say? I mean, just like quickly, like between the two,
Oh, between Lightning and Illustrisimo?
Correct. Yeah.
There are a bunch of similarities. I mean, Illustrisimo is known as a bladed system, and Lightning's like a caveman smash system. They're both great. I really, yeah.
No, it's funny you mentioned, because the reason why I'm asking, somebody said, hey, a good complement to KI is Lightning Scientific. A couple of conversations with different people and all that, and Lightning Scientific is mentioned a few times as far as what would be a complement to KI. So I was just curious, what you felt.
I'd say the movement, in my opinion, the movement is fairly different. And they're both very complete systems, and they are complementary more than other systems would be, for sure. As someone who's trained extensively in both, in my mind, they're super different. But I guess compared to other styles, they're more similar than like Pikiti would be to either one of them.
Yeah, that would be a tough blend, Bikini and KI. You know what I mean? Not that you couldn't extract good things from each of them, but to complement one another. I could think of other systems. Yeah, and that's not to say anything bad about any of them. It's just some systems are just go to better than others, Just want to make sure I haven't missed any questions here. We got a bunch of people watching though. Huh. All right. So all right, so obviously you mentioned it. You love to compete and all that. So, what you first, not just outside of fencing, but how about when you were living there? What'd you compete in? As far as like whether there be tournaments or what have you? Were they soft stick, real deal? What was it?
There were all kinds of tournaments, and I found that each tournament had a very different vibe, different rule set, everything. I did some first hit tournaments, which as a fencer, that was like, a
Oh,
nice.
that must have been good for you.
Oh yeah. That was a lot of fun.
I've seen Brandon do that. Like
we fought in the same tournament actually, but he was in a different weight class. But we took a cab home together, shared the medal podium together, which was fun.
Oh, neat. I hope you got a picture of that. That'd be neat.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Jeez. But wow. So then, okay, first hit. What else?
My favorite. So first hit is always nice. My favorite other style of tournament is like where the reffing it's like a boxing style. So they have very good refs who watch, and they're watching for like how many times you connect, but also how much you defend, and then like parry riposte. But they're not stopping the action, and they're watching more like in a boxing setting. So you just continuously fight.
Not so much generated on a point system, but more like who had the cleaner shots, who maybe. Okay. Oh,
the point system gets very messy, I think, like because people dive and do silly things.
I think they all have a benefit, but like the weak half, like I understand what they do, and I'm not knocking it. Hey, I mean, if they enjoy it, who the hell am I to say what they should or shouldn't do? But where they get the Abanicos and the Cortacabatas, and they're just going to town, I just want to make sure. Oh, we do get a question. All right, question for Paulo. How would you? Okay. Oh, good question. And kind of parallels mine. And outside of winning, what are your priorities? Okay, let's take the second question first. Outside of winning, what are your priorities in competition? Question from Paulo.
In competition or before competition? At a competition, winning is my priority. That's it. I mean, of course, everyone does that in a different way. I just, from fencing, I take it, as we say, one touch at a time. So I'm not thinking ahead, like standing up there with my medal. I'm just right there, present, just getting that next touch, getting that next hit. That's all I'm thinking. I'm not thinking of the win. I'm of course thinking of the win, but it's like just in the moment.
I'm thinking, I'm just guessing there what maybe Paulo might be alluding to. It's what about like besides the winning, and I get what you're saying. I mean, that's your focus. You're just right in the moment, trying, you're not thinking ahead and so forth. But like out of it, is there the experience, the handling of stress? I mean, I'm going to guess you're probably already got that pretty much wrapped because, the whole fencing background, you're used to being in the spotlight, it sounds like.
Yeah, with in the NCAA, you're competing during season. You're competing almost every weekend with your team. So I have my way. I even in the Philippines, I prepared my food the night before. I hydrated a lot. I tried to get as much sleep as possible. I have a system: warming up, staying warm between rounds, that kind of thing. So. That was already, programmed.
You already had that. You already had that. Yes, and it sounds like the transition was pretty easy for you based on your background in fencing and all that. Diener. He keeps calling me that. That is funny. I don't know where you got that from. Something tells me you've been looking into my background. All right. So Paulo's first question, which is a good one. How would you characterize your personal fighting style?
That's a good question.
It is. I think so. Yeah.
It depends on the weapon, but generally I tend, and this is not very, I'm working on this actually. So even though my style when I'm teaching, I'm completely KI, like Kiro. If everyone doesn't know what that stands for, Calis Illustrisimo Repetición Original. So that's my style when I'm teaching. I very much hold to that. When I'm fighting, KI tends to be very counter, which is fantastic. I love it. And in fencing, I tend to be a counter fighter as well, but I've always been a more offensive fighter. I can't help it. I do have patience, but sometimes it's like, just hit them and get it over with. So sometimes I tend to be a little bit more on the offensive side, but I wouldn't say it depends on the weapon, really.
Okay. So, all right. So within KI, I mean, because of the counter measure, traction and all that, maybe you look for the countering, but you also think of offensively first hit due to your fencing background. So maybe within regards to tournaments, if it's obviously kind of the first point or first strike there, you're probably going to go in the fencing mentality, I'm guessing, right?
Oh yes. Yeah. For first hit. Okay,
and then if it's,
I'll probably play with the distance a bit and just hit them.
And then when you can, exploit them and go in for the.
Absolutely.
I think we got another question. Did you train? I'm going to guess no on this because I think he was already in the States, but I could be wrong. Here's a good question from Maestro Alvin. Then we'll get to Julius's. How does your fencing complement FMA training?
I would say it mostly helps in knife fighting because of my weapon in fencing, because fencing has 3 different weapons. So it helps a lot in blades. In stick fighting, I still had to learn a different way of generating power.
Right.
But with blades, it definitely gives me the upper hand especially with knives, and especially in a dueling setting.
I was gonna say fencing is great for that. I mean, thrusting. I mean, that whole carryover. But with stick, you got jet power, which you're seeking bone.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of torque involved, and in fencing there is not. It's very straight on, in and out.
Very linear. Right?
Yes. So with stick fighting, I really had to learn how to generate that power. But with blades, not as much. It really helps.
Right. All right. Good question. All right, we got a question. And one from here. Did you train with Alex when you were in Luneta? Did you train with Alex?
Alex?
You know Alex? I think he was there in the States already.
Maybe.
Yeah, Alex Orisha. I hope I'm pronouncing them right. Yeah, he was in the States already. Yeah, that's which I thought. Okay. All right, getting back here. All right. Okay, so we're going through the competition. So obviously, sparring is important to you.
Yes.
What about when I want to kind of go into kind of teaching now and all that, but why is it so important to you as far as and just overall your lens?
Well, again, coming from a sport, like if you're not sparring, then you're not actually doing it. Like you're not actually learning you're not doing it in real time. How do you know if you learned the moves? And I got into trouble a little bit with this, and I know how to approach it more now. But back then, when I first got to the Philippines, I'd just be like, hey, let's spar. And people were like offended by me. I came on
Really?
a bit too strong. Yeah, it was a cultural issue. It's not that.
Oh, and you did. Of course, you weren't aware of that,
right?
So you're just
and no one told me for many months.
So it's not like you were intending to be that way. You just
right. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did not want to be offensive. Not at all.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to challenge anyone. I just wanted to work on things. Right. And that's the only way I knew how. And still to this day, I mean, Arnold's right, John's right. There's a ton of value in working alone, doing your drills. And now I understand that it really does help. But for me as a fencer, of course, like we did all that stuff, of course, but like you have to actually fence if you're
Yeah,
gonna
especially
fence.
fencing. Like, how you gonna know your range? I mean,
Right. Like you
yeah,
can
yeah.
drill, for instance, in fencing, you can drill a parry for repost all you
Mm,
want, but it's completely different when someone's actually trying to stab you, like
yeah,
in a
same, right,
real.
yeah.
So the
I
same
know.
applies in FMA. How do you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that it works unless you're like someone's really trying to stab you?
Yeah, right, right. How you know that block or that parry or that deflection, right, is gonna
Right, or that
go.
attack
No, no,
is.
absolutely, absolutely. No,
And
sparring
the
to me
thing
is
is with sparring, there is no real solution. Everybody fights differently. Sure, you come up with you end up having your favorite moves that work for you a lot of the time,
hmm,
but there's no guarantee that it works against everybody. That's ridiculous. There's no secret
sure,
move.
sure,
The attack
sure.
that, the best attack is the one that works, the one that lands. That's it. There's no
Mm.
best attack.
Yeah, right. I mean, right, depending on who you're against. I mean, right, fair enough. Let me just make sure I'm not missing any questions. All right, this is from your camera. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, this is from Vico. Would you expound on your affliction towards knives as versus longer bladed weapons?
Mm.
Did you get?
Um, Hold on. Sorry.
It's okay.
There
No
we
worries.
go. Okay, we're back. What was that? Expound and expand
Yeah. So
on knives versus longer blades?
So basically, yeah. So again, what his question is: would you expound in your affliction towards knives as versus longer bladed weapons?
Oh, well, I also love longer bladed weapons. Knives are my favorite just because, again, I train in weights, of course, but I like a lighter, faster weapon because that's just what I'm used to. And
Mm.
I won't get tired with it. I mean, of course, my other favorite are two-handed weapons. So, um, and that's actually a wild story. The first time I ever sparred two-handed weapons or anything was in a tournament, which was so much fun, actually. Arnold,
Mm.
beforehand, I was like, but coach, I'd never even fought with a two-handed weapon. He's like, just do the same thing you learned with one hand and do it with two hands.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then I won and won a really large blade, which was so fun.
Wow. Okay. Just make sure we haven't missed any more. Okay. Questions are coming in. Did you pick up any Southern Tagalog sacred geometry heavy styles like the Zato or any of the styles in Laguna or Santa Cruz, Louisiana, seeing that you trained with Ruby's style? You
I
didn't? Did
didn't
you
quite.
travel around when you were over there? Did you have the opportunity to travel around outside of Manila? Manila?
Um, I did. I did. I mostly traveled for Illustrisimo, like when there
Right.
was a
So you didn't really
seminar
weren't
or a
exploring.
demo.
Okay.
When I went
Okay.
to the Philippines, it was not, for me personally, I was there to focus
On
specifically on
KI.
Illustrissimo.
Right. So you weren't checking
I
out other
did try
systems.
to seek out Lightning just,
Oh,
for,
when you're there. Okay. Okay.
yeah, but I was there, I was very focused. I wasn't
Yeah, I
shopping
got you.
around. I
Yeah. No. No. No, okay. Yeah. So Julius, she really didn't seek out anything else other than that. Let me just make more questions. Did you set your sparring partners on a time limit, like rounds in boxing? What is the duration? If you did set time limits, example, 3 to 5 minutes, did you have a rest period? All that. So basically, if you were sparring with somebody, did you have rounds? If so, how long?
It depends. It
Yeah.
depends. In tournaments, for sure, there were time limits. Like some knife tournaments, like it's 30 seconds. That's a round because like in reality, it's not going to last that long. So they were very, very quick rounds. There were others where 3 minutes was the time limit for, the boxing style tournaments. If I'm just sparring, when I'm training, sure, we'll set a time limit or we won't. We're just working on things.
Okay. Sure. All right. Next question. These people, as a joke, they're supposed to send them in to me beforehand. You can see how well that's working out, right?
Of course.
What was your Mindanao experience like? Did you go down there when you were there?
I did. I loved Mindanao, actually. I had a great time down there. And there's a great, really fun guys to train with. I saw Knowles and his school down there. We did, like in Davao, there was a demo that we did that Arnold, that a few of the KI guys did with Arnold and myself. And I loved Mindanao a lot.
Really?
It was one of my favorite parts of the Philippines, actually. And I love that whole group down there too. I'd love to go back.
Neat. All right, we're gonna get to you as a teacher. So when did you come back to the States? So after Israel, after Philippines?
Yeah, so when Arnold was telling me that I was ready to teach, I was already looking for jobs. And the first job that I got that was solid was to be a fencing coach at Rochester Fencing Club in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
So I went to Rochester, and there I opened up my martial arts Kalis Fight Club, my stick fighting school at Bedrock MMA was the gym that hosted me. So that's where I taught out of.
So all right, so you sublet there, you worked out something with the owner.
Yeah. And they were excited to have some stick fighting.
Yeah, you're bringing something different, complements them. Yeah, it's a win-win for everybody. So so how long did that how did that take off? So were you primarily teaching KI, or what were you?
Yes. I was coaching fencing, and when I wasn't coaching fencing, I was coaching KI, Kiro. And when I wasn't doing that, and I had any time, like during the day when I couldn't train myself at night because I was coaching every day, every evening. So I picked up jujitsu, which is something that I'd picked up over the years. And that's something you can train during the day. So that's what I was doing during the day, was training in jiu-jitsu.
BJJ, Brazilian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think.
And while I was in the Philippines, I met the Kalis Brotherhood in Hong Kong, they were so great, and they invited me to Hong Kong, and I trained there a few times. Like anytime I needed to renew my visa, I'd go to Hong Kong and train for a week, like solid for a week there. And they have a great school. So if you're ever in Hong Kong, look up Kalis Brotherhood. And those guys spar. Yeah, they're great. And they do BJJ and Muay Thai. They're really good fighters.
I think BJJ is a must. You have to have at least how to get out of positions. You know what I mean?
Totally. I love it. It reminds me of fencing a lot. Like it takes a similar place in my head, BJJ and fencing. So.
Yeah. I still do it. I mean, you have to. I mean, you better know how to get out. You got to take them to the ground, man. You better know how to navigate those waters. All right. Totally. So is this when this is basically your first coining of your school, KalisFight.com? Is that the beginning of it?
It's Kalis Fight Club. Kalis means blade.
Kalis Fight Club.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So you got a website. So website, was that kind of started back when you were in Rochester, or is that something you got created?
Yes, and it hasn't been updated. The best way to reach me is through Instagram or Facebook. These days I've been working
Okay. Yeah.
a different, because of COVID, I haven't been teaching classes in KI or
Yeah, I think
anything.
it's for everybody.
Yeah, I went
No,
into
it's been
working for a
everybody.
security firm. So.
Oh, all right. Well, hopefully that it's working out. But yeah, it's been tough. I mean, just teaching in general, this whole nightmare. I can't believe we're still in it. That's what's killing me. I mean, we're past the calendar year already. So then all right, so Rochester, you're teaching primarily KI, and then you make the move to California.
Mm-hmm.
So before COVID, were you able to teach at all?
Yes.
Okay.
I was teaching. I had a class. Um, I did a few seminars at the Saratoga Martial Arts Festival, and I had a couple seminars in Rochester.
Now the Saratoga one, was that Tim Hartman's?
Yeah, he comes out there too. So we met each other there.
Okay, because the only reason why I'm mentioning this, he invited me to teach something next year, and I'm wondering, is it the Saratoga or is it something different?
I don't know. I mean, Tim Hartman has been teaching at Saratoga Martial Arts Festival.
I was just curious, but yeah, how was that? That must have been neat, right?
So fun. So fun.
There's going to be some editing in this one. So what can I talk about before she comes back? Weekend. It's going to be an episode Saturday and Sunday. Saturday will be father and son. Bruce and Chris Chu, they're Modern East. They're going to do some demos. Sunday, I believe, with Julius, he will be doing Dan Anderson and Brian Zielinski. And that will be the 16th. I'll be on the 15th. Thursday, I'm not sure who I'm going to get on, if I'm going to get anybody on. It might be just too many for the week. All right, here she is. Okay. And we were back. Oh, you were back. What is going on? What else is going on this weekend? Raffle Sunday night. So I just have to work out the particulars with Brian, how we're going to do it. We're going to do it live in the group, but we're going to make it available to people that are currently watching the raffle. Those who have been supported the channel that might not be able to make it, I will definitely put your name in there. So do message me. I think Maestro Alvin mentioned he might not be there. So people that have been really consistent, I'll be more than happy to write your name down, if you can't make it. So, yeah. So make sure you just let me know if in an event that you can't be live when we're doing it. I think we're going to be doing it at 7:00 Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I'm going to work out those details with Brian and all that. So this should be good. Bunch of people donated some really, really nice stuff. Very generous of them. Looking good, Dean. Eric O'Brien. This weekend, we have to train. What else got here? All right, folks, we'll give her a few more minutes. If she doesn't come back, sadly, I might have to shut it down. Just see if she's back. All right.
Hopefully this works.
You're in the pink room now. We can't go wrong.
Yes.
So how could we go wrong in the pink room?
Of course.
All right. So we were on transition from New York to California, and you were teaching groups right before pre-COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. And so were you teaching subletting outside?
Yeah, I was kind of like renting a space in the MMA gym in
Mm.
Rochester. I had a setback, just for me personally, physically, um, but like health wise, which for the first time, like as an athlete, that was super difficult. I like lost all of my strength, but fortunately, and so I took a break from teaching at that point for a little while until I could get it all figured out, which I have. Now it's
Oh,
resolved, and
good.
now I'm back.
Yeah.
And so I started teaching private lessons again, and then COVID hit.
I know. I know. Yeah, what a. I know. Jeez, I tell you. You know what's funny? I hate to say there's good and bad. Is like my group class just went to obliterated. You know, but my privates picked up. And I got to be honest with you. I
During
don't know,
COVID?
man. I might just keep the privates and screw the group class. I don't know. I'm just like,
Totally.
you know, yeah, with the privates, like, you know what they want, you know, they're dedicated, they're vested, you know what I mean? I'm just thinking at my point in life, I don't know, I think that's just a path I might continue with.
Absolutely. I mean, coaching
Wow,
private
you
is
know?
super,
Yeah. I'm like, you
super
go in
fun.
there
The
at night and,
energy.
you know, yeah. I don't know. So I don't know. You might want to think about before you take that group class back.
Yeah. Well, now with this job that I'm doing now, um, I don't think I'll open classes again for a little while, but definitely if anyone's interested in private lessons, it's just hard. My schedule, I'm working a lot. They keep sending me all over the place. But
Yeah.
private lessons, I can definitely work in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree, man. Just like I'm just doing them, and it's so easy. Like I do them on Messenger, or I bring them up here. It's like, yeah, you know what they want. I don't know. I'm just thinking more and more. So what are you? Okay, so
Yeah.
let's that. I know. Um, so when you, but for the most part, you're basically when you know your privates now and then pretty much KI, correct?
Oh, completely. Unless someone
Completely
wants to
KI.
learn,
Okay.
yes. Unless someone
Okay.
wants to learn fencing, of course
Oh,
I still
fancy.
take
Right. Okay. Yeah.
lessons in fencing.
Okay. So, favorite weapon to train in? Knife?
It's interesting. For me personally, my favorite weapon to fight with, aside outside of fencing in FMA, my two favorite ways to spar are knife and two-handed weapons. I love dos manos.
Dos
Um,
Manos, like the component. Okay. Okay. Neat. Neat.
yeah, but
So,
not to teach. My favorite is not teaching knife. It's funny. Knife is harder for me to teach in general. I have
mm,
some issues with teaching knife fighting, just like internally, ethically. Also,
yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of like I feel it a little bit more intuitively, and so I don't really know how to get someone to do that, just because
Yeah. You got to be
I
careful
don't
who you're
have
teaching, too.
training.
You know?
That's true too, and a lot of
Mm,
people come in, they want to learn knife disarms. It's like, no, I'm definitely not going to teach you that. That's a dumb
yeah.
thing to do.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. No, I know. It's
but
tough. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I have issues, less so now actually. I used to have a lot of issues with teaching self-defense in general.
Mm,
Just I think it's a lot of times, uh, not all the time, but a lot of these, like, come in, I'll teach you to defend yourself. It's like, yeah, but if they don't know how to fight, like, they don't know, they're not going to be able to do this stuff. You're putting them in danger.
no, and the whole thing of stress. Yeah. Yeah. It's right. Yeah. I'll teach you. Yeah.
But
Wow.
with
We got to get. I'm sorry.
one thing I will say about knife, now I'm
Sure.
working, I'm trading KI for Piper. And so if people want to know some Piper, maybe I'll be able to show them that. But usually I prefer teaching like just straight up
Piper.
KI.
What do you know? What do you know about Piper?
Oh, I know a little bit. John Bednarski's been teaching me little.
Oh, I'm under Lloyd. I'm a teacher under Lloyd.
Oh, oh yeah, I saw that you're
Yeah.
that
So
you
yeah. So I want to hear it, man. Tell me about that Piper.
Well, for me, in terms of my fighting, I find it useful, especially with my job. A lot of my squad that I went through the academy with, they really want to learn like knife fighting. And I find that when I can teach them like KI stuff, but I would really want them to have a background in that a little bit more before I would teach them KI knife. Um, but Piper, I want to learn more Piper so I can show them because it is really cool.
I think Piper is one of the best thing for women. I think
Oh yeah.
just because of the gross movements, I think, and the natural default system of hiding, I think it's one of the best for women. It's all gross movement oriented. To give that with long, I'm actually kind of trying to develop a program within it. Because I just think for women, I think it's just such a system that could be really just phenomenal for them. And all that, because it's all just picking, that tearing, that picking, then the default system of hiding. I mean, I just think there's just so much there, for women. I just think it would be.
Well, I mean,
I think it's
knives in general. I mean, as a woman,
well, knives in general, but I think the
I just
system.
think knives are the best weapon in general.
Yeah.
But again, not in terms of self-defense necessarily. To be honest.
Yeah. No.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Self-defense is a very, very. I don't know. If there's a market, but mostly that's what it is.
Yeah. I want to learn how to knife fight. That's alarm should be going off when you're hearing that. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting more used to the idea now that like I'm getting more comfortable with the idea of teaching people off the street self-defense, but that's not something that I don't know. I'm a coach. I like to teach.
Yeah, no, I understand. I don't blame you.
I like to competition, and that's my lane.
Right.
You know what I mean?
People right. As opposed to,
especially because I'm a woman, they request self-defense, and it's like I can teach you how to fight, and then you can defend yourself with it.
No, you're being honest. I think. Michael's got a question. Privates in person or Zoom?
Either one. I don't mind.
Either one. Okay.
I'm also vaccinated, so if you're in the area,
you are vaccinated.
Yeah, I prefer to teach in person, but if it's not possible, absolutely, I can teach on Zoom.
Okay. Good. All right. So what? Okay. What do you as far as because we come here? What future goals? What are your future goals for yourself?
In terms of training?
In terms of your journey, your continuation in FMA. Yeah.
In terms of training, of course, I mean, the pandemic has kind of made nothing happen in terms of like what's out there. As soon as it becomes available to me again, I'm planning to start competing again in fencing in 2 different weapons. And just my dream is to have enough people in FMA that I have training partners around here. I do have a couple people in the area. I like to go up to Stockton and see the Stockton, all those guys up in Stockton that do the multi-style.
Oh, the multi. Yeah, I had them. Yeah, Terry, June. Yeah.
Yeah, so I love to go up and see them, but locally I'm still trying to find my crew to see who I can train with. But so in FMA, they're mostly teaching goals at this point.
Yeah, it's tough to find. They're not a dime a dozen finding good training partners. It's you know what I mean. When you have them, man, relish them. I mean, cherish them because they're not a dime a dozen.
And it's hard to if someone doesn't come from stick fighting, but they want to learn it, and you can trade them like skills, but still they're not going to be on your level, and you're not going to be on their level. So it's like it's nice to trade skills, but it's not exactly.
No, I know you mean. But if you got somebody who can give you resistance and can really make you grow and all that, those are not a dime a dozen. Those are rare.
I was thinking about something you said earlier, and I wanted to comment on it. And
Sure.
I hope it's not annoying or what's the word? Offensive. But when you were saying the thing about women, it's like good because it's gross motor. I've found as a coach and a teacher that oftentimes women, because of dancing and everything, they're way more coordinated. Like as a fencing coach, it's easier for adult women to be more coordinated than an adult man coming in, because oftentimes they can dance and I don't need to teach them that stuff. They're already more coordinated. So I think with knife fighting, they don't need the gross motor stuff.
I'm just saying the orientation of Piper.
Like quick, like little things and more like, but yeah, for adults, I'd say gross motor stuff is good because it's hard if they're not coming from a martial arts or like.
That's what I mean. Like, and I should have clarified that, but the program designed for what these women, they don't train. Like they're just, okay, look, I'm going to give you this stuff. You don't have time to train during the week. Here's what I'm going to give you. Yeah. So, I mean, I totally get what on the flip side, what you're saying, those are dance. Yeah. I could definitely appreciate that. Sure. You know what I mean?
And so with knives, it's like, it's not in stick fighting. It's harder. It's harder if they don't have strength. It's very hard to teach stick fighting to people that don't have.
If they don't have
because they can't hold the stick for very long, and that.
Just some muscle endurance, shoulder endurance, muscle endurance, what have you. Yeah, agree. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any questions. Okay. All right. Okay. Didn't miss any. All right. So what about, what can you think? What would you like to see change for the positive in our community, FMA community? From your perspective, what would you like to see as far as that would be nice changes or beneficial changes?
Something, but this I don't think would change. We used to talk about this at the fencing club in Makati, Republic Fencing. If you're in the Philippines and you want to learn fencing, by the way, Republic Fencing. There's one in Green Hills, there's one in Makati. I remember talking about this at the fencing club with my coworkers. The crab mentality has to go. But if it's ingrained in the culture, what can you do? Just try to support each other. We saw this in the fencing, like the Philippines would have a much stronger fencing community if people were like supporting each other's tournaments and supporting each other's clubs, because you bring up everybody, there's going to be stronger competitions, more people are going to show up instead of like boycotting each other's tournaments. It's better for business, it's better for everyone if you have stronger competition and you have like stronger camaraderie. But yeah, the crab mentality, man, it's difficult.
I tell you, it's over here too. Maybe not as much over there. I don't have the answer to that, but I do. But I see it in the. I see it in the group, FMA discussion group. I mean, even though I like to say things are improved to a certain degree, but there's still that kind of mentality of like not willing to cross over different groups, that like kind of staying with your own. I mean, I've definitely seen improvement with some of the online training, people getting together and doing that. So I think that's one thing positive that came out of COVID, unfortunately, but there's still. Yeah, I agree with you.
And I understand, like from like a traditional perspective, you want to keep your style. Definitely, I support that. I love Illustrisimo. I don't want it to be in other things. I want it to be Illustrisimo. I want lightning to be lightning. But I wish like within the systems, people would like just fight it out, seriously. Like duke it out, settle your differences.
Or just
not with.
I mean, No, I know, and I agree that like obviously some systems there's more politics than others and all that. Like I don't, all that, but yeah, right. It's okay to like favor certain systems that you gravitate towards and all that. Like obviously, there's nothing wrong with that, but I just where you look at other systems and like, oh, I know I can't go train over there because it's not like, to me, I don't think that's really benefiting your journey. You know what I mean? It's okay to have your favorites, but it's also very okay to cross train and see what others do. You might get something out of it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, so aside, yes, I totally agree. But aside from like the attitude